How you doing, guys? This is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com. So the debt ceiling was once again raised, and the federal debt has jumped up something like $339 billion in a single day. And there's a couple of very important things that I wanted to talk about in reference to the debt ceiling and deficit spending. And in general, we've gotten to a point where it's become completely meaningless. It doesn't even mean anything to anyone anymore to have a debt ceiling or the debt limit. They know it's going to get raised. And as the Wealth Watchman recently stated in a video, he made a point that is incredibly obvious yet incredibly important at the same time, and it's that, and I'm paraphrasing here, a ceiling that always gets raised is not a ceiling at all. And so functionally, there is no ceiling to the United States debt and deficits, because they're not going to just say, no, we're stopping spending now, we now have to live within our means. They're going to continue to raise the debt ceiling and increase the national debt anytime that they get up to it. So it's effectively, there's none there, because even though it takes on the surface what appears to be some sort of governmental operations and decisions to raise the debt ceiling, the decision's already been made. It doesn't matter if we have a Republican president, Republican Congress, Democrat president, Democratic controlled Congress, it doesn't matter. The debt ceilings will be raised, and they will be raised again. And it doesn't matter who becomes president next, it's going to happen again. And it's not helping the country at all. It's actually putting us in a very bad position. And one of the worst things about it, and this was mentioned by Peter Schiff in a recent interview he did with Fox Business, and this is such an important point that it's just made sort of in passing by him. I mean, he says great stuff all the time, but this was something that is hugely important when people talk about candidates coming in and wanting to cut spending and cut taxes and stuff like that. Every candidate has a new tax plan. This is how I'm going to cut taxes. This is what I'm going to either raise taxes in the case of people like Bernie Sanders and stuff like that. But the comment that Peter Schiff made was the cost of government is not what it taxes, but what it spends. Because what the government taxes the people is almost irrelevant, because they're just spending more than they tax anyway. So as I've stated to people in the past, I'm saying, like, why does the government even collect taxes? If we can spend money that we're not bringing in taxes, just let everybody keep their money and boost the economy, and then deficit spend as much as you want anyway. And what Peter Schiff was pointing out here is the inflation tax that's baked into government deficit spending, because that money is later created through quantitative easing and programs like that, where it basically is called money printing, but isn't literal printing. It's just borrowed money from private banks. It's created out of thin air. And so anytime they spend money and have to that they don't have and have to eventually borrow it and create it, it creates an ever-expanding supply of money, which decreases the value of the money that's already in the system, which is the money that you have, that I have, that businesses have, savings. And so the value goes down. So value is taken from the people of the country through inflation, and that's the real cost of government spending. That's a real hidden tax, and it's not even hidden so much, it's just not admitted as being a tax. So next time people come out and talk about a tax plan or tax cut, realize what's at stake here, that's not really even the issue. I mean, obviously it's important. Taxes are part of the system. We don't want to have to pay too many taxes. We want to keep our money. But the point is, the government will still be taking your money, whether or not they take it directly in taxes, if they don't stop their spending, because the value of all your money is going to go down. And it forces people to have to do things with their money other than what they would be doing originally. Like if you were going to save, saving is now punished. You have to somehow go out there and create an income off of that money that's greater than the inflation tax. And that's difficult, especially in today's economic climate, and it also causes you to risk your money when you might not otherwise want to. So even relatively stable investments are risky compared to just straight up savings, and you're sort of forced to do that if you don't want to just slowly lose value of your money due to this inflation tax. So keep that in mind next time you see someone mention taxes, that unless the government stops its spending, the taxes are just another subset of that. So there's always going to be an inflation tax. And the real issue here is the debt money fiat system that the government uses, that our government uses and most central banks around the world use, that actually prevents them from paying off the debt, because there's more debt in existence than there is money available to pay it back. And I'm not going to get too into depth in how the monetary system works. I've covered this type of stuff before. There's a lot of information out there. But basically, money is loaned into existence. That's how it's created in our fiat system, which doesn't have to be. The Constitution grants the government the authority to coin money interest-free, but instead we decide to borrow it with interest from private institutions. And don't ask me to explain why that's the case. I mean, it's he who has the gold makes the rules, so to speak. But it is a problem because you can't pay off the debt. There's no way to pay off the debt. There's more debt than there is money. And unless the system keeps inflating with constant new creation of this debt money, then there'll be a deflationary spiral where money is, because it's actually, if you pay off a debt, that money is erased from the system. So they can't have that either. So either one or the other is going to happen, probably both. You could have a deflationary spiral to which then the government reacts by just naked money printing, just raw creation of money, and then causes an inflationary spike after that. And all this is related to just the way the debt money system works and the fact that the government is just constantly spending money and can't stop and is taxing our savings that way, not just directly through taxes. So keep an eye out for that, realize how the system works, and check out rulethewasteland.com, and I'll talk to you guys later.